The FTC says Microsoft lied. Microsoft says nuh-uh, and I can't believe that this isn't still over yet. This is a cow's opinion. What we're going to go over today, Microsoft's latest moves with Activision and Blizzard have made the FTC think that they can get a do-over on their lost court cases. But is that true? Nicole Carpenter here at Polygon has a very interesting article and already with one update, so we're going to be looking at that today. Now, as we all know, Microsoft, late last year in the fall, completed its transaction to buy Activision Blizzard, one of the biggest game acquisitions of all time, for tens of billions of dollars. And the FTC put on a pretty shoddy court case. There were some good fears and arguments, but the FTC just couldn't get over the goal line. However, you might remember here on the Cow's Opinion that we went over the fact that Microsoft laid off 1,900 people late last month in January. And I just saw a really good Force video, Force Gaming on YouTube. And he was talking about how like tons of people from Overwatch were let go. A lot of people from Diablo were let go. And those are games currently. Like, he doesn't know how many other people were let go from other stuff. But the Overwatch League support staff got decimated. Really, really terrible. Something like somewhere approaching half of the 1,900 people were laid off from Activision Blizzard. Maybe even Blizzard specifically. And now the FTC thinks that Microsoft may have broken a deal and can get them back in court because they're claiming that Microsoft broke the promises it made in court when it laid those employees off. So Imad Abiyad has filed a letter with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit on Wednesday, tattletaling, but maybe yes, maybe no. This newly revealed information contradicts Microsoft's representations in this process. Now, again, back on January 15th, 19% of the workers from its gaming division, 8% of that company, were gone. And a very big portion of them were from Activision Blizzard. Now, the official numbers are still not known, but they know that at least 899 1,900, so approaching half, worked out of the Activision Blizzard California offices according to the public records available in California. As we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business, said CEO Phil Spencer. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're all aligned on the best opportunities for growth. And we've talked in multiple, way too many videos in the last 4 or 5 months as these tech division and gaming division layoffs continue, that these companies massively overstaffed for the pandemic, thinking that the good times were always here. But nobody planned for, maybe a bit of a downturn when we could all go outside again. And that's why they're doing this, because now they're more focused on the numbers today than on what they're going to need in the future to achieve greatness. And that sucks. They're making it great for the investors on paper, but for the employees who are losing their jobs, and for you and me, the gaming consumers who want high-quality video games that we love, they're making it much worse. Now, Abiyad, and I apologize if I'm getting the name wrong, said that Microsoft had promised that Activision Blizzard would be largely independent from Microsoft, and provided several examples. The post-merger company will be structured and operated in a way that would readily enable Microsoft to invest any or all of the Activision businesses, or in other words, that they would remain independent. And that kind of tracks with stuff. Microsoft has called Blizzard the old Pixar of video gaming, that they just need to, get things going again, and they can make the great stuff that we all used to love. And in fact, we covered an article that showed that at a recent Blizzard event, not Activision Blizzard event, only Blizzard's logos and stuff were prominently displayed. There was no Activision, enforcing the fact that Microsoft saw Activision, Blizzard, and King, the 3 portions of the company they bought, as separate divisions going forward. Oh, that's some reason they have a little blurb from a Stardew Valley thing. It threw me off there for a second. Now, the FTC also said that they wanted to maintain the pre-merger status quo with vertical acquisition of Activision, and specifically contrasted with a horizontal merger where companies often eliminate redundancies. Look, the point that he's trying to make is that if this was a vertical acquisition, you wouldn't need to eliminate redundancies because that's called a horizontal. Instead of merging all of this gaming stuff into one entity, you have different pillars. Like one pillar is Microsoft, one pillar is Activision, one pillar is Blizzard, one pillar is King, one pillar is whatever. And that means that they lied. And again, he focuses on those areas of overlap from Spencer's statement. But the 69, I'm going to say 69 because of its internet, but the merger is already complete. So what is the FTC doing? Well, the FTC, remember, filed that appeal that didn't have a lot of hope back then in December and wants to now not stop the deal, but rather undo it. It wants to force Microsoft to divest Activision and Blizzard and King so that they don't control them anymore. There's a problem, though, because getting a court to appeal that is a major challenge. Now, we've talked about this while we were going on that saga. It's much easier. It's not easy in America, but it's easier for a court to block a merger than it is for a court to order a breakup. In fact, breakups do not usually happen in this country. Now, the example in the article is like when Whole Foods acquired Wild Oats Marketplaces. The deal went through, but later appealed, forcing them to settle with the FTC by giving up the brand name and 32 stores. But that was back in 2009. The likelihood is slim. But the FTC is trying to win the appeal, claiming that these layoffs make effective relief harder. Now, obviously, the Court of Appeals is in San Francisco. They haven't announced any decision because this is very new. I would not expect anything on this for a little bit of time, guys. Because the FTC is asking for a big thing. They're asking for them to reopen something that's already been settled legally, with the potential that Microsoft is going to have to divest tens of billions of dollars of corporate IP, maybe even hundreds of billions of IPs, contracts, games. It's a lot. And Microsoft has already responded to the filing with its own letter to the Court of Appeals saying that layoffs did not prove that they went back on their word. Kakesh Kuro has wrote that Microsoft has already considered layoffs before the merger. The recent announcement thus cannot be attributed fully to the merger, he writes. More important, Microsoft continues to fully stand behind its representations to this court. To be clear, while some overlap was identified and some jobs were eliminated, Microsoft has structured and is operating the post-merger company in a way that will readily enable it to divest any or all of the Activision businesses as robust market participants in the unlikely event that a divestiture ultimately is ordered. This is precisely what Microsoft represented previously. Microsoft was also nice enough to provide Polygon with their own statement, which I also want to read. In continuing its opposition to the deal, the FTC ignores the reality that the deal itself has substantially changed. Since the FTC lost its court case last July, Microsoft was required by the UK Competition Authority to restructure the acquisition globally and therefore did not acquire the cloud streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games in the United States. I want to put a little caveat on that part. That's a 10-year deal. The rights revert to them after the 10 years. And cloud gaming may not even be viable in the next 10 years, depending on investments, breakthroughs, internet speeds, cost of providing them. There's a ton of factors that make me wonder why they let them off so easily. Why the UK Market Authority was so focused on cloud gaming, which has not been proven commercially or financially viable any close to thing. Just look at the death of Stadia. Boggles my mind, but there you go. Additionally, Sony and Microsoft signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation on even better terms than Sony had before. And I can also I'm going to agree with Microsoft on that too. Look, Activision Blizzard had been kind of raking Sony and Microsoft over the coals and just, why don't you pay us even more per copy, or maybe we'll stagger the release to your competition, forcing them to pay up. I'm not trying to say Microsoft and Sony are innocent little victims. I'm just saying that was a really raw deal that Activision was using just to milk more money. So what does this mean, and what's my opinion? Well, my opinion is that the FTC is looking for anything that they can use to try to undo this loss. But I don't know if this is it, guys. Look, the 1,900 workers layoffs suck. And the fact that 900 of them come out of Activision, Blizzard, and California offices also sucks. But just because you're laying off, like they pointed out, at least 1,000 of them came from other Microsoft gaming groups. And this is unfortunately what happens within mergers. I don't like it. But I don't think it alone is a smoking gun like the FTC is hoping it will be. I don't think this is going to get them to appeal it. But we do have some comments. If Microsoft was planning on laying off employees before the emerging, then why didn't they do it before the emerging? I don't believe... Look, that's a fair point from Psycho Ghost. We also have Fiery Breath. The FTC is pretty toothless as corporations effectively control the federal government through lobbies. When they want more power, they'll have little resistance if they can buy the way through any legal matter, and we will all lose in the end. The FTC is a joke under Lina Khan's leadership. In no way was this acquisition anti-competitive or anti-consumer. Microsoft is still a distant number 2 to Sony, and that's without considering Nintendo or EA or any other big publishers. What a waste of taxpayer. That's my concern, is that somebody's going to, at the end of all this, ask the FTC how much money they spent on this. And if they keep losing, like I think they might, because again, I don't know if this is not necessarily a smoking gun, because they laid off a bunch of other people too. And I know the FTC is trying. That's proof that they're not vertically integrated. They're keeping it. I don't think that that's a strong enough case to undo the merger, unfortunately. It's a very high bar, guys. It's hard to measure, but one way to look at it is that the only mergers that go to court are the ones the companies think they have a solid chance of winning. Others that have less certain chances never even see the light of day or abandoned long before it gets that far. Even if the FTC loses, it still sends the message that anyone considering a similar merger needs to be ready to fight tooth and nail for it. Once that example is set, there are other mergers that won't even be attempted. Let the free market determine the winners and losers. Hell no. Consumers and workers will lose 100% of the time. The free market is a joke. Chances they do anything effective about it? 0. Hey now, they may get them to pay a $100,000 fine that ultimately negotiates down to $70,000. I mean, look, there's some really great opinions and discussions here. I want to go. This is the comment that I actually agree with the most. I appreciate the FTC following through on this acquisition, but I really hope this is using less than 2% of the lawyer's time, because I can't help but feel there are other issues in the overall market that could use this level of scrutiny and investigation. And look, I'm going to slightly agree with Zenichi there, because this is very important. But the reason why I hope that this isn't near the top of the priority list is because I don't think that's not enough information, I don't think, for the court to undo the merger. I think this is the way it is. The FTC came in. I want to say they fought the good fight, but no legal experts liked what they were doing in court. It was very bad and very dumb and very stupid. And the FTC lost. And this is the new reality of our gaming landscape. The year of 2024 will be remembered as a lot of developers losing their jobs. This is not the end of it. Unfortunately, that running tally is still going up. I believe between last year and this year so far, 16,000 game developers have lost their jobs worldwide, and that sucks. And I want you to feel free in the comments to put down, your honest opinion. I know that a lot of people are going to say, I really hope that this might be able to reopen the case. But honestly, do you think this even has a shot? Because it's not a smoking gun or anything. I just don't think it's going to do anything, guys. I think the FTC is trying to find anything they can do to get this back in the courts. and then hopefully they can do something. But I don't even know if they have a strategy to argue in the court beyond what they already argued, which was found lacking in the first place. And again, breaking up a company is a higher bar than stopping a merger, and they couldn't stop the merger. It's been a long day for the cow. It was really hard, and now we got this. But you know what you got? You've got the ability to play more games. Not necessarily Blizzard games are not nearly as good as they used to be because they're more focused on monetization. But games are awesome, and you deserve awesome. I'll see you next time.